right, so we are back. It's 36 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, and from time to time, we've been talking to him a lot recently. His name is Anthony Angelo, Fortress Fiduciary Company, a division of Paragon Trust. And not that any of that is really necessarily important to you. He comes on when he sees a story, or we talk about something the previous week or a couple of weeks ago that sort of hits home and people need to know about it. And he's got a lot of knowledge. We got to let him come on and share that with us. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lee, and good morning, everyone. You're most kind.
So, I got to ask you, we started to touch on this last week, and we sort of scratched the surface a little bit, but best investments that you can make. We talked a little bit about, stock market last week or annuities, but best investments you can make, Tony. What is it?
The best investment you can make, Lee, or anyone can make, is the investment in yourself. And when you look at things from outside in, it gets mind-boggling because you don't know what's right. But yet when you define yourself and you say, what is the best investment I could make, it's in yourself, your abilities, your desires, and your dreams. Let me give you just a few statistics. And the first thing, and traditionally it's always been education. Get education. Education will help you. I'm a strong believer in education. But the traditional, shall we say, system of education in this country, especially in the state, there was a story last week at 247wallstreet.com. It played on a lot of the major networks. The student debt of any student getting out of school is highest in the state of Connecticut over any other state. $40,000, quote unquote, per young person. Now you throw $25,000 per capita state debt on top of that per the Yankee Institute. So you have a kid coming out of school with really is kind of in a major that they really can't do much with, and they're $65,000 behind with interest compounding before they even get to the ball game. So what I challenge people to do is rethink that. How can you make your education pay for you? Because let me tell you something, boys and girls, no one's really going to be giving you an objective opinion. I've had so many college students go to their professors and say, am I in a good major? And the professor's thinking, well, if I fill a class, I get to work another semester. It's kind of like asking Willie Sutton what he thinks about, bank vaults. It's where the money is, So it's like, be very, very careful on what you do. This also afforded me, I was listening last week to Peter Marisi, whom I like. He's an economist, a professor. He's an anti-establishment guy. You've seen him on, television. He has the bow tie. He's very colorful. They threw him out of the university, I think, whichever one he was working in, because he happened to say to some big shot, look, instead of telling people to get into these majors that they are, have them go and borrow the same money, buy gold, put the gold in the backyard, come out 20 years later, just, work in some job, and you're going to be farther ahead than if you were carrying this debt. So the first thing is learn something and learn to defeat the debt monster, because debt over the time can crush you, and if it doesn't crush you, it's going to kill you. So
at all costs, anybody listening to us right now, your number one goal in your life would be to get rid of the debt.
Exactly.
And if some people, though, get to that point, Tony, that, they're underwater in a sense where, they're making what they make every week is just enough to pay the basic bills and pay that credit card debt that has been, going out of control because the kid needed braces or this thing broke down. So what do you tell somebody who's making minimum payments on credit cards and really can't afford to do anything else? Has he got to get another job, or she got to get another job?
There's a lot. If you can get another job and not make yourself stressed or sick, I endorse it. The one thing I tell people all the time, Lee, is learn something you can do to make some money. Learn a skill. And the thing is, you don't even have to be terribly skillful. If you can cook, if you can clean, if you can bake, minor repairs, keep books. That's what I did to go through school. Fix computers, mow lawns. I can't get people to do this for me in Pomfret. They're just not there.
Right.
So it's just learn to do something, especially if you want to be an actor or an author or something like that. We need actors.
Sure.
I love movies. I wouldn't be here but for the movies. My father ran movies. We need authors, but you got to have some sort of thing that you can do to make some money, because As I recently lost a dear mother to a Jewish doctor friend whom I went to school with for years and years, and she would always say to me, the Jewish people learned way back when, if you stick something between your ears, they can't take it away from you.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So, again, just to take away from this, before we run out of time, those of you who are listening, maybe on your way to you're in your parents' car on your way to your senior season or junior year of high school or whatever, maybe think twice, 3, 4, 5 times before you decide what major you're going to go into. Something that you're eventually going to make money at, or even take it to another step is you could actually think about maybe not going to school and going to a trade school or something like that. Correct or no?
Oh, believe me, you ought to see what I just paid my electrician for the alternative power that I had to put in because we keep having outages. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. They make a good electrician makes a couple $100,000 a year. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, if you're courteous, if you're prompt, if you're professional, if you listen to your customer, and if you care about them, I mean, you'll have so much work, you won't know what to do with it. It's an incredibly amazing thing.
Tony, you talked about buying gold, too. Everyone talks about buying gold. You see the commercials, buy gold. And does gold ever go down to the point where it scares you, or is gold probably one of the more solid things folks can invest in?
I think having some gold is good because no matter what happens, it's like I have a couple of very modest gold pieces I keep in a secure, undisclosed location. And the thing that I've always told my wife is, should something terrible happen, this is food and groceries and gasoline for a period of time. I think having some gold is good. And the upward trend over time with gold is fine. Now, of course, other investments have outperformed it. And the other problem is if you really need to sell gold, I mean, it's you need to find a buyer for gold and who will liquidate it. You're not going to get that high market value. So those are the things that you have to consider. But having some gold is a very good idea.
Tony, great stuff as always. We really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate you checking in from time to time, okay?
Lee, it is a pleasure.
All right, buddy. Have a good week.
Thanks, you
All right, pal. We'll do it. Again, always a pleasure to talk to Tony Angelo. I can't talk all of a sudden. What's going on? I need to drink this entire coffee. When we come back, we'll talk to the second part